Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. I've got a story for you today. Yeah, it's a very, very good story. I'm sorry you're hearing my dogs walk around. But this is the story of the witches of WARBOYS. Yeah, it was kind of the ending right there that nailed me. But I found out that's a city that is in England. And so we're going to be talking about this city and this one specific family that is full-on affected and accused, a whole family. Okay, what I do here is I tell a dark history story that has to do with witches, vampires, werewolves, you know, all that fun magical stuff. And while I do that, I put makeup on my face just to kind of, you know, have something to do. Yes, that's what I do here. So if that sounds awesome to you, please hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. Like I say, today our story takes on the whole entire family. It's not a big family, but the reasons around all of this is kind of mind-boggling. I'm gonna let you figure out what you think, if she really was a witch or if she wasn't. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this party started. So we are in WARBOYS, England, which is Huntingdonshire. The year is 1589. And this happens from 1589 to 1593. Now, the lady who is going to be the whole focus of the story is named Alice Samuel, okay? And Alice was a very, very old lady. She was elderly. She was 76. It's pretty old for that time, you know, if you think about it. And she went and visited a friend. You know, just as people do. Go and holler at your friend, you know what I mean? And it gets her into trouble. So who's this other family that she goes to see? Well, I'll tell you. Lord, this is going to get me in trouble. Throckmorton. The Throckmorton family. Yes, the Throckmorton family. I just realized I forgot. My hair's in my face. Like, what's up with that? Let me find my other clip. Lord have mercy, I'm trying to get myself situated here, and I found my clip, and then my battery dies on my remote, and you know, it's the story of my life. All right, let's get on with it. So, the Throckmorton family, okay? Now, the Throckmorton family was kind of a well-to-do family, very much so. The guy was a squire, which was like a knight, you know, basically somebody's like right-hand man, you know what I mean? He had a family, he had a wife, and he had children. He had 5 daughters, okay? And one of these days, one of his daughters gets sick, and her name is Jane, okay? Now Jane, she starts having fits, right? The fits. We're always talking about the fits. Like, I want to know what these fits are, but we actually do have a little bit of specifics, yeah. So the fits consisted of sneezing out loud and like really, really, really hard. I could think, I'm guessing it's like thick. They said like they would sneeze and it was really, really thick. I'm not really sure what that means. I don't know if they're like sneezing something out or they're just incredibly like stuffed up, maybe, you know, like with the flu or something. So she has that. She has trances, like when she goes into these trances, she goes and lays down, you know, and it's just this little girl from the Throckmorton family. And she swells up, her body swells up, one leg would shake, while the other one would stay still, and almost like she would lose control of her arm. Like it would just have like some kind of palsy to it. Like, and this went on for like months, you know? So back to our girl Alice, okay? Alice, like I say, she's 76 years old. She has a husband, okay? And she also has a daughter that lives with her, all right? So, and you gotta think that, and I kind of thought this after I wrote down my notes, that if her daughter is still living with her and Alice is 76, then evidently her daughter either never got married and that's why she's staying with them, or something happened to that effect. But it just kind of goes to show you what they're looking at when they start pointing the finger at Alice. And the first person that does that is Jane, okay? Jane points the finger at Alice. So Robert was really, really good friends with Sir Henry Cromwell. Yeah, Cromwell. Really, really good friends with that dude. And as we know, the Cromwells are a very predominant family. And so Robert was like basically his right-hand man, his squire, his knight or whatnot. And so now that you know, we have Alice, who is old. She has a daughter that stays at home that obviously probably never got married, never had any kids. And then we have this catastrophe of where this girl has all these weird symptoms. I mean, they are weird, really weird. Not only that, it starts going through the house, like whatever sickness this is, okay? It starts going through the house. Yes, like make it make sense. I don't know if it was like it could be a psychosomatic thing, but like some of the servants started having these symptoms that Jane was having. So in November of 1589, our girl Alice goes to go and visit with the Throckmortons. I can't believe I said that right. Good for me. Anyway. And so she shows up over there, and you know, we don't know if she like brought some goodies or something. I'm sure she was just trying to help, you know. And all of a sudden Jane sees her and she starts saying things about Alice, okay? She starts saying really weird things. She says, quote unquote, "Grandmother, look where the old witch sitteth," and she points to Alice. "Did you ever see one more like a witch than she is? Take off her black thrumpled cap, for I cannot abide to look on her." This is coming from a 9-year-old girl to a 76-year-old woman. Okay, and so for some reason, her mom didn't think anything about it. Okay, she's like, whatever, you know, she's sick. She doesn't feel good, you know. I mean, she's just saying stuff because she's saying stuff, you know. Forgive my kid, she's sick. For some reason, though, they allow Alice to stay in the house, like, just for a little while. I'm not sure why. It doesn't say why she was, you know, asked to stay at the house, but she was. So like I say, the mom thought nothing of it, like it was just another day, you know, just another weird thing to say, saying that this old woman is a witch that's coming to visit you because you're sick, you know, trying to help you out. Anyway, Jane continued. She got worse. Jane got worse and worse and worse and worse. She kept getting worse. And then, so they started to they found a doctor, and they sent her urine off to this doctor. And he thought it could be one of a few things. And so he sent like 3 medicines. Well, none of those medicines worked. Okay. Yeah, they did not. And then they found another, I guess it was like a family friend that could do some testing on her urine to see like what the deal is. And he prescribed the same thing that the doctor did. Yeah, like what? Yeah. And it didn't, of course, it didn't do anything. Okay, now meanwhile, we got old girl staying there. Okay. And Alice, this old girl, by the way, she has her staying there. And so none of this stuff cured her. None of this stuff cured her. They didn't know what to do. But what happened is her sisters started to do it, started to get it, whatever the sickness was. Not only was it affecting the servants in the house, maybe psychosomatically, we don't know, but the sickness spread to the daughters, all of them. So with these 2 doctors not being able to find anything wrong, 2 more daughters get sick with whatever this could be, right? And everybody was stumped. They didn't know what was going on, okay? It still hadn't occurred to anybody that, you know, that Alice, Jane pointed the finger, but nobody really did anything about it at first, okay?
And so anyway, some of the other daughters cried because, like I say, Alice was staying with them for a little while. Hold on, this is a quote as well from one of the sisters. "Take her away. Look where she standeth here before us in a black thrumpled cap. It is she that hath bewitched us, and she will kill us if you don't take her away." That's what another daughter says about Alice, okay? Then, and like I say, they still didn't understand what was happening. Eventually, it gets to all 5 of the girls. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Gets to every single one of them. And the one that gets it the worst is the oldest. The oldest daughter gets it the worst. She screeched, she moaned, she heaved her belly up, and like freeze up and roll off the bed. And I mean, it's bonkers. Like, what? I know I said that word way too much. These girls supposedly could not hear or feel or see anything while they were having these fits. So they couldn't remember anything that they said, which was just kind of crazy. So they accused Alice and they asked them, please take her away, They believed that God freed them of the witchcraft, and so the sisters said that they remembered nothing. So they thought that was just God, like, kind of taking it away. Now, I don't know if this meant that the girls got better, but Lady Cromwell enters the picture. This is why we were talking about the Cromwells earlier, okay? Yes, Lady Cromwell enters the picture now. So since they couldn't see or feel anything during these fits, whenever they woke up, they just thought, once they felt better, that they were healed by God. But for some freaking reason, Lady Cromwell, and I don't know why she sticks her nose in this, because I felt like the situation was pretty chill, like I guess that they sent Alice back to her home. We don't have much record of this. This almost became part of a compilation, but no, I wanted to do this one on its own because it's so good. And in a way, incredibly sad, because a whole family ends up getting accused of witchcraft. Because not only did they accuse Alice, they accused her daughter and her husband of witchcraft as well. So in March of 1590, Lady Cromwell goes to see, I guess you could say Lady, that word, the big word. The lady of Robert's wife. Yeah, we'll say that, Robert's wife, sorry. I can't remember words today. And anyway, so Lady Cromwell goes and visits, and Robert's wife is like, hey, what's the haps? What's going on, girl? Like, spill the tea. What's happening with your girls? I hear, they're really, really sick. And she's like, they keep saying this chick Alice, is put something on them. But they say they feel a lot better now, but it was just kind of odd. And so Lady Cromwell, what does she decide to do? She decides she's going to go and visit Alice and accuse Alice of being a witch. This is what I'm talking about, where she just puts her nose in somewhere where it didn't even belong, point blank period, because this had nothing to do with Lady Cromwell, okay? She just came over to somebody's house and they were like, well, maybe she's a witch. And so she just goes over there and straight up accuses her. So Lady Cromwell goes to Alice and is like, hey, what are you doing? Are you doing things to these children? I'm accusing you of witchcraft. She grabs a pair of scissors. Lady Cromwell does. Grabs a pair of scissors and cuts off some of Alice's hair, okay? Hear me out before you say it in your head, because I know what you're thinking. So she cuts a lock off of Alice's hair, gives it to Robert's wife, and tells her to burn it. And that should break the curse. Okay, what is that called? You feel me? I know you do. Now, that same night that she got the hair and took it to Robert's wife and told her to burn the hair, Lady Cromwell started to have nightmares. Yes, she did. And it wasn't too long before she became ill and she passed away in 1592. That is not too long after she did the cutting of the hair and burning it and all that other fun stuff.
So because of the death of Lady Cromwell, one of the locals convinced Alice to like make a confession. Okay. And so Alice, I guess, told her that she was a witch, this person, but then she takes back the confession. She retracts it the next day. Now, she confessed again when they put her in front of the Bishop of Lincoln. Okay. I'm not sure if she was tortured or not. I think that she probably was not, because she just went on ahead and admitted what she did, like twice. That's why I'm saying, like, this is a story for you to really think about, and it gets cooler. Like I say, she confessed again when she stood before the Bishop of Lincoln and all this other stuff. And then she was taken to prison along with her daughter and her husband. Yeah, it's a family affair. Like I say, the whole family goes to jail. And I don't know, I'm not really sure why, you know, I mean, but there you go. You know, why they got to take the whole entire family? I didn't even hear anything about the husband. I don't even know what he did. I could see why they would take the daughter in, because she was unmarried. She was staying with her parents still. She never had any kids, evidently. You know, so she was like an old hag. Not hag, but like a, you know, like an old maid. An old maid. That's what I was trying to think of. Lord have mercy. So the family was tried for the murder of Lady Cromwell. Yeah. And they used something against Alice, that's something that she said, and it stands out. I totally see why they put this in the transcript of the court, you know. Alice's words to Cromwell, I guess, when Cromwell accused her, okay, Lady Cromwell, she said to her, quote, "Madam, why do you use me thus? I never did you any harm, as of yet." It's like, why you gotta put that little "as of yet" in there? You feel me? Like, maybe she was just mad because she, you know, was being called a witch, and back then, of course, that's derogatory, and, you know, it's not a good thing to be a witch back then. So they used that phrase against her in court, and that's basically what's the nail in her coffin, okay? We're not done. No, we're not done. Now, post-mortem. Yeah, we could talk about what they, okay, first, the end of course, they hang them, and then that's the end of Alice and her family. Okay, so now they want to look at Alice's body post-mortem, okay? So the jailer and his wife decide that they, like I say, they want to check out Alice's body post-mortem. What they're looking for are witches' marks, or, you know, marks of the devil or whatnot. That's what they were looking for, because I'm guessing they didn't do any of that beforehand. And so what they found was something very interesting. It's what they call a witch's teat. Okay. Now, I have heard of this before, but I didn't quite know what it was, because when you think of that, you think of like a third nipple, you know. No. It is something else that's like protrudes out of the skin, that like a half inch to an inch, and it's in the downstairs area. They actually used like a word that I had to look up, because I didn't know that was the word for the downstairs area. And so basically so the witch's teat is obviously a mark, but look at this. We have two spirits. People are still that type of, you know, I mean, like hermaphrodites, you know? And so that's basically what a witch's teat was having like an extra lump of skin down there. That was like not really sure. They said, but it protruded from the skin is what they said. And so they found this mark on Alice. Now, I haven't heard about this in any of the other witches until this one. And I thought it was interesting because, you know, in the native culture, we have two-spirited people. You know, they are of both genders. And Lord of mercy, I'm not trying to cause a political train wreck on this video, okay? So I'm just gonna shut the hell up about that right now. But I just thought that was freaking neat, you know? That even though kind of looking at that body is weird, but I didn't know that's actually what the witch's teat was. Like I literally thought it was like a third nipple. Like seriously, I did. So to them, this was the witchcraft mark, devil's mark, whatever you want to call it. And so they felt like that, yeah, they did a good job. Okay. Well, the WARBOYS, this trial actually inspired the passage, a lot of the work that was in the Witchcraft Act of 1604. And there's several witchcraft acts, okay? Like in different countries, and we're talking about England today. So their Witchcraft Act started in 1604, okay? And I'll tell you exactly what it consisted of. But the WARBOYS witches were the ones that basically kind of sparked this, okay? The bill, actually it wasn't an act, it was a bill, excuse me. But the whole entire thing's actually called, and I can't remember it because it's like the longest title ever. An Act Against Conjuration, Witchcraft, and Dealing with Evil and Wicked Spirits. That was the name of the Witchcraft Bill, 1604, right? Like, you got a lot on your chest there, buddy. You know, July 7th, 1604, like I say, the act made it a felony to do witchcraft in England, okay? As well as removing the accused from any ecclesiastical like courts. They had to go through common law. They had to go through the law, the court system. It couldn't just be, I'm going to make an accusation and we're going to hang you. They kind of, which is not a bad thing. You know what I mean? That's not a bad thing. Ordinary criminal procedure was put in place for the witchcraft. That way, like I say, they could have a lawyer. They could have as we've already done other stories where women had lawyers, you know, and the lawyer went to town for them, you know. But anyway, so with this specific bill, it was an ordinary criminal procedure that they were put in, meaning they would fill the entire book of the law, though. And so if they were always, they changed it from burning to hanging. I mean, they hanged the WARBOY witches, so. And then they only burned the body if they were charged with petty treason. So that was the act. And then if you had the finger pointed at you once, you went to jail. So if you were found guilty of being a witch, you went to jail for a year. And then after that, if you were accused again and it came up like, and you came up guilty for it again, then they were going to kill you. Yeah. So here we are. I mean, in a way, the Witchcraft Act kind of helps. It's not an act, Brandy. It's a bill. The Witchcraft Bill actually helps. You know what I mean? But at the same time, now they're going through the full throes of the law. We all know that back then, who was all the law dudes. I'm trying to figure out. This is where I'm at. We have a room or a home full of girls that evidently were bored. Okay, I'm not saying they weren't sick, but if they went to see doctors and all that other stuff, kind of stuff, you know, because they had money, then it shouldn't, you know, they should have been able to find out what was wrong with them, especially if it was like catching, you know what I mean? Oh my God, I sounded so country when I said that. So, but really, if it is, and they said the servants had it, all the daughters got it, but it was like a weird palsy, you know, where they would trance in and trance out, you know, and they only pointed the finger at Alice and the family, obviously, because the whole family goes down. I still don't know why the whole family had to go down. I can see why her daughter would, and why Alice would, because Alice was 76, old, you know, her daughter was a spinster, you know, I could see why they would take them in, but to take in her husband as well, that's a rarity. So With this story, what I'm trying to figure out is if the girls were telling the truth or not. If they were actually sick and going through all this stuff. Or if they just found a person they wanted to point the finger at because maybe they heard stories from other towns about witches, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, we just never really know in these situations. So, was Alice really a witch? I mean, she did say, I haven't done anything to you as of yet, to Lady Cromwell. So you gotta think about it for a second. She could have been a witch, but I'm not saying that she could make a whole entire family have fits, though. I think that was something that the girls made up, and when their parents were like tripping and didn't know what to do, they just pointed out a lady and was like, yeah, you know, she's a witch or whatnot, and she's the one that's been doing this to us, you know, which is not the case, but here we are. But the interesting thing about this whole thing was the witch's teeth to me. It's the first trial I've heard of where we had this. And so to know that just because of being different in a certain area made you a target, you know, to have whatever, I don't know if it's an extra something. I don't know what it is. But to me, it's making me think Two-Spirit. I'm sorry if you don't know what Two-Spirit is, you can definitely get, that's like a whole nother video. And that's native stuff. But I think they picked on her because she was old and she had a spinster for a daughter. And I think those girls were bored, you know? Like they had everything handed to them. They had 12 servants in their house. 12 servants. 12 servants. Oh gosh, I can't even afford for anybody to come clean my house. You feel me? Like, so that's the story of good old Alice and the WARBOYS witches, the witches of WARBOYS, England. So I thought it was very, very interesting. I love the name of the city. I don't know why. I guess because I'm a little bit obsessed with Fury Road, just a tiny bit. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that y'all subscribe and comment below some trials that you'd like me to go over. This coming week, Thursday, I'll be doing a compilation of 3 witch trials. That one should be really good. One of them is really good. It happened in 2008. Yeah, 2008. Okay, that was not long ago. It was not long ago at all, and it's pretty bad. So anyways, stick around, guys. And if nobody's told you today, I love you. So have a wonderful week.